You defended this city from the worst the darkness sent against us. Your light has been our beacon. We thank you, Guardian, and we will never forget.
Hello guys, gals, and guardians. Alright, let's talk weekly rituals. So, Bungie had another one of their weekly live streams today to release the next part of what they're calling the Age of Triumph. So we basically got to see what the process will be for us upon getting into the Age of Iron for the first time after that download. So first things first, what you're going to do is go and talk to the speaker, and you're going to get a quest. There's going to be around 12 steps for this quest, and they're basically all going to have to do with something about the story missions. So the first step is to complete story missions in a weekly story playlist. We'll get into that in a little bit. So after that, they kind of walked us over to Tess Everest to figure out, what's going on over there. And there's a new box. So we had Sterling Treasures, we had the box of the Dawning, I think they called it, and they're just all sorts of different boxes all over the place, and you open them and you get those useless consumables that nobody wants, that take up space and take forever to get rid of. So we have another one of those. But the thing with the Treasure of the Ages is that everything from release, so all the armor sets, all the ships, all the ghosts, sparrows, sparrow horns, whatever it is, they're there. If you want, specific things, like if you only want those taken boots for your hunter, you can walk over to the Silver Dust kiosk, and they now have 5 different collections. Each one is, they'll have all the emblems, or they'll have shaders and all sorts of stuff, as well as gear. So if you spend a little bit of silver dust, which will also come, in the Treasure of Ages, as well as dismantling stuff from that Treasure of Ages box that you don't want, you can build up your silver dust and go get what you do want. So from there, they moved on down to Shaxx. And so Shaxx, back at the end of the Taken King, offered 5 weekly Crucible bounties. Then they bumped that down to 1, and now they've given it a little bit of a boost, and there's 2. So both weekly bounties are going to have to do with 6v6 game types, and they'll rotate based on the week. And Shaxx is also selling a new thing called an Arena Engram, which is going to cost you 5 silver dust and Crucible. Well, you're going to have to be Crucible rank 3. And then obviously he's still selling his swords and all that jazz. Alright, so now what we really wanted to talk about. The featured activities that, they made such a big deal of. We basically figured out what they all were before the stream this week. So first things first is the weekly featured raid. The first week, as I mentioned in the video last week, is going to have a Light 390 raid of the week. The first week is going to be Crota. The second week is going to be Vault of Glass. Third week is going to be King's Fall. And the week after that is going to be Wrath of the Machine. Then in the next slot, I guess you can call it, you're going to have Challenge of the Elders. Also at Light 390, they're bringing that up. And the only thing that's really changed for Challenge of Elders, aside from the light level, is that we're going to start getting heroic strike style and rewards. So you're going to get a legendary engram for completing the first one, and then the next, well, like the first three times that you do it, you're going to get 10 legendary marks apiece. Then moving on, Nightfall is, light 380, so I don't believe that's changed, but what they have introduced is a modifier called Daybreak. So basically, all enemies are going to have the Epic modifier enabled, but all the Guardians are going to have, like, crazy high ability recharge rates. So I'm not sure how many of you actually watched the stream last week, but Deej kept saying, why don't we add a little bit of mayhem over and over and over and over again. And this is what he meant. So basically, we're going to take the recharge rate from the Mayhem Clash Crucible game type, and that's basically applied to us along with the other modifiers. So it's going to be orbs for literally days. And then they also mentioned a Rainbow Burn. I'm not completely sure what they were referencing when they said this. If any of you guys know, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'll talk about it in the next video. And then let's move right along. So next up, we have the Seva Crisis Heroic playlist that is going to remain at light 350. And the rewards kind of change again, as they always do for the heroic strikes. So you're going to get Treasure of the Ages, one of them for the first time that you do it. And then for the first 3 times, you're going to get 10 legendary marks apiece. No real change there. They changed it from Sterling Treasure to Radiant Treasure to Treasure of the Ages. So, just as the updates come, they just change the box that you get. Granted, this is the last update. Alright, and now we get to the weekly story playlist. So this is taking the place of the daily Crucible event that they had in the slot. So they got rid of that, and they replaced it with this. So it's going to be light level 380. And basically what they did is they took all the Destiny story missions that we've ever had, and they put them together in a playlist. They've added modifiers, as they did when House of Wolves came out for the Queen's Wrath. So this is the first time we're seeing story missions with modifiers added in quite some time. So I'm gonna talk about rewards, but I know most of you want to know what's going on with the story missions. So let me just get this out of the way real quick. So you're going to have the ability to do the entire playlist. By entire, it's not really all the story missions, it's like 10 of them. But you're basically going to get to do those 10 story missions 5 times to get up to 100 legendary marks. And you're also going to get 1 Treasure of the Ages. So that's going to be your second box getting ability area, I guess. So you're going to be able to get 1 from the heroic strikes, and you're going to be able to get 1 from the weekly story playlist. So what they're doing with the story playlist, as opposed to giving you every single strike and having you do every single, I said strike, but I meant story. So as opposed to getting all the story missions together and having a playlist of like 50 things to do, they're breaking them up. So we didn't get what each week was going to be, but they did tell us that week 1 is going to be all the story missions that take place on Earth and the Moon. Week 2 is going to be all the story missions from House of Wolves and Dark Below, because, they're expansions, so there weren't all that many. So, similarly, when The Taken King comes out, you'll go back to the Dreadnought, you'll do all those story missions. And the event that they had in the background during the stream, they were in the week of Mars and Venus. So, again, all the story missions that took place on Mars and Venus are what's going to be in that playlist. You run it through at 380, with modifiers, and you get your rewards. So it's really just, adding not necessarily more, but kind of like a throwback to Year 1 Destiny. And I think that'll actually be pretty cool. And then finally, your weekly Crucible match is going to be some 6v6 PvP game type. So as I said earlier, the Shaxx bounties will be related to this event only. He's not going to give you a bounty that's not going to be relevant to this weekly Crucible event. Obviously, you can still open up the director and go to whichever type of Crucible event you want, but the weekly featured Crucible is whatever they have there for the week. And as for rewards, you're going to be able to get 10 legendary marks, just a one-time thing, and the first time you do it, you're going to be able to get the Treasure of the Ages. So, they're not really huge on the Crucible at the moment, and they're kind of giving you a throwback to, like the story missions, the speaker, get you involved over there. And as another throwback style situation, they're bringing back the Nightfall buff. So you're going to have an XP buff after you've completed the Nightfalls, and they're also bringing back the Blue Flames. I'm going to see if I can snag a picture because they had one running in the background. And basically, once you've done the Nightfall, these blue flames will show up around your character, and each time you do the Nightfall, you'll have the blue flames around your character, just to show off, I've done the Nightfall and such. So I just had a few comments at the end of the video, kind of speculating about where I think this is going to go, just because I don't know when I'm going to be able to get another video out for you guys. So now that we've seen, the speaker again, and seeing that in like Nightfalls we're having unlimited supers basically, I'm about to get a little bit more on board with a theory I've heard before that we might lose our light in Destiny 2. So basically, this theory states that the Cabal reinforcements, like in a bunch of strikes, they keep saying, oh, the Cabal reinforcements aren't here yet. They're trying to make, a call to their reinforcements, and so on and so forth. Basically, the theory is that either they or the Fallen or someone, they will show up and they'll basically take out the last city and the tower, basically making the Guardians, lost. And I guess this does kind of make sense. It's like a typical Bungie thing where they'll kind of misdirect you or like mislead you in a certain direction. They'll be like, oh, look at all this amazing stuff that we're giving you, and everything. And then at the end of the day, they come back and they're like, yeah, sorry, but we just kind of took all of it away. So, it is just speculation. I could be completely wrong. It could be a completely different game. And obviously, they kind of want it to be able to go somewhere, so they're not going to kill you off. But I feel like this also does fit into place with the whole, like none of your gear will transfer over, none of the weapons will transfer over. It's really just going to be you, because all the light and all that stuff will basically be irrelevant. There are also other theories about how the Traveler is actually evil and the Speaker is not really, the greatest of guys. So hopefully they'll tie that in when we start getting trailers and such for Destiny 2. Sorry. For Destiny 2. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. Didn't really want to end on such a negative note there, but, I feel like that's where it's going. So don't forget to leave a like, comment, what you think about, the changes, what you think Destiny 2 is going to be like, And, if you have any questions or anything like that, leave them in the comments. I read all the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more exciting Destiny content. Catch you next time, guys.